we thought, what better way to pay tribute to love and the love of Philly couples than to make this the Real Weddings issue, and to just really honor love done your way.
Hi, I'm John from PGP Wedding Films, and welcome to Say Yes to the Best, where we talk to the best wedding pros to give you wedding planning advice. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram. We have new content out every week to help you with your wedding planning. Today, I have Kristen Schott, the editor of Philadelphia Wedding Magazine, to talk about their magazine. Hi, Kristen. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm excited to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. The day that we are releasing this episode, the new issue should be on the stands. And I know one of the topics that's covered in there is people kind of pivoting to their plan B for their wedding, especially in regards to COVID-19 and having to just adjust to the new normal and still get married. So could you tell me a little bit about what's in the issue and some things you've seen as far as people kind of making the best of this situation and still celebrating their love and getting married?
Yeah, so we were producing this entire issue during the pandemic, and we saw so many of these weddings where couples had to decide to do something different than what they had planned, either postpone or elope. And one of the things that we decided to do in our issue was pay homage to that and show couples how you can essentially have a party now and party later, especially as we're hopefully moving out of the pandemic a bit. It gives couples more opportunity to celebrate with an intimate group at this current time, and maybe honor their original wedding dates and then have a larger celebration in the future. So our issue, we have a 2-page spread on your plan B. So we've broken down 6 different things to keep in mind with input from local vendors on how to throw off a bash of your dreams, just a little bit smaller, in maybe your backyard or at one of these venues that are offering all kinds of packages and whatnot, if you don't want to do it in your own backyard. I think the idea of a backyard wedding is so charming and perfect for the summertime. But as I said, we have about 6 different ways to approach it. We talk a little bit about how you can still decorate. And we have an example from Ram Floral. Rebecca was able to pull off this dreamy floral design for this couple who decided to elope in their backyard, and it was pure magic despite being scaled back. And another thing we have is we chatted with New Pace Wedding Films a little bit about how to pull off Zoom, which is everybody's favorite thing right now. They had some great tips on perhaps where to place the camera, and how to manage the live stream, and of course putting someone to manage it all. Of course, one of their tips was, and I'm sure you know this, is to check visibility and sound quality, because there's nothing worse than having a video without any sound. Another few things we talk about are making the music count. We chatted with East Coast Entertainment about different ways you can incorporate music and still make it what you want. Some of their musicians are even pre-recording songs so the couple can hear it and experience it and see if that's what they want to move forward with. Oh, what else do we talk about? As I said, we talk about the venues to have it to have your wedding if you can't have it in your own backyard. And we've actually recently published a larger lineup on our website about different outdoor wedding venues that are offering different spaces at this current time for micro weddings, up to 25 or so, when you can't have 300, 400 people at this time. Emily Smith of Emily Photography chatted a bit about how to have your photographer on hand, but also how to do it social distance style. So you can have your wonderful photographer capturing getting ready shots, for example, by taking it outside, taking the final shots outside. So of course the partner, the bride, the groom can get prepared inside, and then they do finishing touch shots outside, and having everyone stand in a circle 6 feet apart so everyone can watch. It's a beautiful moment. And then we have food, because you can't have a wedding without the food. And we chatted with 2 separate restaurants about some different catering packages they're offering, or not really catering packages, but takeout options, how to put together a meal for a smaller group in your backyard.
So in kind of putting all this together, have you seen like any stories and how people are kind of doing something where they're getting married now, but then maybe still considering doing something larger down the road?
Oh my goodness, yes. So many couples are planning that route. We had a couple who, one of the stories that touched me a lot was this couple recently got married on their rooftop, and they had originally been planning for a horticulture center wedding, and they could no longer do that. So they eloped on their rooftop on the date they had originally chosen, because it was very special to them. And then they bumped up their wedding a year, and it's still at the horticulture center, and it's still going to be large. We had another couple today we just published a story on. They postponed their wedding back in, they made the decision over Easter weekend to postpone their October 2020 wedding to October 2021. And because they made the decision so early, it eased some of the challenges that they could have faced had they waited. And I'm seeing tons of that, and so many creative ways to approach it too. It's not just a backyard wedding. Like I said, it's a rooftop wedding, or it's a couple having a private tender moment on their original day, but then doing the big thing later. I'm looking forward to those big parties later.
Yeah, I think we all are. For the couples that are maybe going to move forward in the next few months with a smaller wedding, since you've seen kind of so many examples of people who have done it and done it successfully with beautiful, beautiful weddings, do you have any advice for them for how they could kind of take their wedding, and even if it's not exactly what they were thinking, a few months ago, how to really make it something that's their own?
If I were to offer any advice, it's to be flexible, because if you're throwing an elopement at home, there's perhaps more variables than you were originally planning for. Well, I had one couple had their rings engraved with their original date and their new date, so they eloped. It was the rooftop couple. They eloped, and then they had their rings engraved.
So obviously there's a lot more in the summer fall issue of the magazine than just the Plan B small weddings. Can you tell me a little bit about the theme of We Did It Our Way, as well as just some other things that are in the issue?
When we were putting this issue together, as I mentioned, we're doing it through the pandemic, and as we're watching all of these couples have to elope and whatnot, we thought, what better way to pay tribute to love and the love of Philly couples than to make this the Real Weddings issue, and to just really honor love done your way. There's so many different ways to say I do, so many different ways to celebrate your own personal journey, and that's what this issue became. And we have 50 pages of real life couples who speak in an as told to format, and then we have a real wedding format. So the as told to is in the couple's own voice, and then the real weddings are a little similar to what you see in our typical, what you probably saw in the last issue. However, we package them all beautifully together to show all these interesting ways to say I do. We have a couple who led a block party celebration a la Carnival to their reception. And that's one of the pages that opens our feature. It's such a bright, colorful, fun experience. And I would never have thought of that. The couple had an adventure elopement, and I believe they're in on Vancouver Island, and some of the photos from this are just striking. The couple had their elopement in this beautiful grove of trees, Gorgeous. Oh, we have so many wonderful couples, so many stories in there. One of the larger pieces that we did was on Jackie and Bruce. They are just like they're a romantic comedy couple. They got engaged in Banff National Park, and Bruce got down on one knee and asked Jackie to make a wish, and secretly her wish was that he would propose, and there it was. Just beautiful. But their wedding is this retro-inspired 70s bohemian, easy breezy bash. It reminds me a lot of California, where I'm from, just this, hippie cool vibe. And they had their wedding at Moulin at Sherman Mills, and all the different decor touches are just incredible. And we did a little chart within that wedding that broke down by the numbers some of the elements of their design. There were 3,000 stems of florals, 2,000 yards of macrame. It's just the detail that went into this wedding is beyond me. Let's see. Oh, and then of course we have our cover couple, Adriana and Shane. They have such a lovely story. They're pictured on our cover in Tallulah's garden. They had a small brunch reception there, and then they had all of their friends over for friends and wedding guests over for a after party at their house, their new house in East Passyunk. They had decided to go with a smaller wedding and have the after party at their home because it made sense to them. Why spend all this money on a wedding when what we really want is to have our home together? And I think that's a beautiful way to approach it, because at the end of the day, you're planning for your future when you get married. And that's just such a nice touch. Let's see, who else do we have? Oh my goodness, we have so many. We have Maddie and Erwin. They had a tropical inspired wedding. Cynthia and Tracy had a Buddhist ceremony. There's so many different ways to celebrate love, and there's 50 pages, as I said, of that to explore and hopefully inspire newly engaged couples.
So if a couple wants to have a wedding that is so amazing and so them that it could be featured in future issues of the magazine, what advice would you have for them to really think through as they're wedding planning?
First I would say, I hope you find inspiration in the pages, because that's the best example of all, to see what we like to show in our book. We love creativity, vibrancy, new venues, interesting ways to approach things, and of course, diversity. But then I would also say to trust your planner. If you have a planner, let them, if you have a vision and you have a certain venue or something, and they're not quite matching right away, trust your planner to guide you on the best way to accomplish that, or know that your planner is there to help you. Your planner, your vendor team is there to help you bring this vision to life. And I think that's the most important thing for couples is to trust that if a couple wants to be spotlighted in the issue, and their planner is aware of that, then they need to work with their planner on how to best approach not just getting into our magazine, but any magazine.
Well, Kristen, it sounds like there is just so much packed into this issue of Philadelphia Weddings magazine. Everyone, it is out today, so go pick it up and start thumbing through it and getting inspired. Kristen, thank you so much for telling us all about the issue.
Thank you for the opportunity. It was fun to look through with you.
And thank you for watching Say Yes to the Best. Again, subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram. We have new content out all the time to help you navigate your wedding planning. Thank you and happy planning.